Shaka, Hislop, West Ham and Chelsea earlier today drew 1-1. All that money since all those players came to Chelsea. Mudryk, we've talked about. Enzo Fernandez, we've talked about, of course. Joao Felix coming back from suspension, but yet they can't get a victory. 1-1 at the London Stadium. Initial reaction from that one?
Well, initial reaction has got to be about the handball and how that wasn't given. Even as a former West Ham player, don't get me wrong, I'm delighted, but I am as bemused as anybody.
Let's set the picture here, Shaka, before you continue. Of course, there was a shot outside of the box towards the end of this game. Souček was sliding down, and the ball quite clearly, it came out of his body. We quite clearly, extended his body in order to stop this ball from going, whether it's intentional or not. Well, you can clearly see that he intended to open his arm. It touched his hand. VAR didn't even suggest to the referee that it was a penalty, and it stayed 1-0. Continue, my friend.
Let me tell you, it was as clear a handball as you will ever see, right? There's no other way to describe it. But of course, if that brings a penalty, Chelsea still have to score the penalty. But you wonder if that were given, especially later on, if that would have been papering over some of the cracks for Chelsea, because West Ham had a goal ruled out for offside moments before. I think I'm right to say, and I've been watching so many games now. Right, and that was, well, it was fairly close, right? I think Rice was just offside. Souček tapping in, and as I say, that was ruled out. But I thought what Graham Potter said after the game really summed Chelsea up. That in the first half, you saw the potential. You saw the potential of all this talent being available to Graham Potter and to Chelsea. In the second half, you saw the challenges with getting all these new signings to play together, to sing in on the same sound sheet. Because again, watching this, and the first half an hour, I thought this was going to be 5 or 6 in Chelsea's favour. I really did. Chelsea were outstanding. They were purring. And then all of a sudden, the last 15 or 20 minutes of the first half, I thought West Ham got a whole lot better. Michael Antonio brings a good save out of Kepa, and then the goal comes. And at that point, West Ham looked pretty comfortable. But this is the last 10 minutes of the first half, as I say. And then the second half, I thought was more even. So, which is why I think, again, what Potter said really summed up Chelsea right now. You can see how good they can be, but integrating all this talent all at once brings some issues.
James, Olley, let me ask you something. We write contribute towards the weekend review here at ESPN, and me and you were talking online about how one of the topic points here needs to be, look, $800 million was spent in the January transfer window in the Premier League. Chelsea spent half of that. So what's bigger at this point? Bowley's, millions or his patience? Because, one victory in 2023, and common sense should say, look, Graham Potter, he's a good manager. He needs time, et cetera, et cetera. But, sometimes in the Premier League, the pressures of financial responsibility are bigger than common sense. How do you see this Chelsea thing unfolding? And are they all in on the Champions League now? Because they're not going to get the top 4, clearly.
Chelsea is that the ownership has changed, but the fan base hasn't. And the fans are used to success. They are used to the hire and fire culture. They're used to the Roman Abramovich way of working. And obviously everyone knows that there's been a change of ownership. And Todd Bowley and Clear Lake Capital have made a concerted effort to invest heavily in the squad to show that, look, we are, we're serious about this. We are here to stay, all of those sort of things. They're ninth. They're ninth in the Premier League. They've won 2 of their last 13 games. And I think what will determine Graham Potter's fate will be the fans as much as anything else. If that fan base starts to turn on Graham Potter, what do these owners do? They're dishing out 7-8 year contracts to these players. This is not going to be a case of we're going to jettison 5, 6, 7 of these new signings. They're building a very expensive, long-term squad founded on young players. And if the manager is not getting the best out of them, yes, they're going to. We did a story on the site on Friday that they are going to get rid of quite a few players in the summer, sort of the fringe players, but the core is there. The core has been established. And if Graham Potter can't get results with that core, there's going to come a point where the fans are going to say, well, look, you've spent top dollar on all of these supposedly some of the most high-profile, exciting, dynamic, best young players in Europe. We need a manager at that level to manage them. I hope Graham Potter does well. He should get time because it's a crazy situation that he's had to preside over. You think about just even Shaka will know this much better than I will. Just the volume of players that he's got to deal with in training every day, trying to keep those players invested when only 11 of them can start and only 5 of them can come off the bench. Extremely difficult situation for him. But these fans expect success, and if they keep dropping points and they keep producing underwhelming performances, it can only go on for so long.
Shaka, very quick before we move on. Where do Chelsea end at the end of the season?
6, maybe 7. I think there'll be some improvement from the league position right now, but I don't see them getting to the top 4.
And they don't win the Champions League, right?
I can't see it. Not this version. I can't see it. Not this version of Chelsea. But then you could say that about 90% of the teams still left in the Champions League. Real Madrid aren't who they once were, or who they were last season. PSG have been stuttering. Liverpool, need I say any more? So, like I say, while I say here with some confidence that I don't see this Chelsea winning the Champions League, who of Europe's big boys are playing in really good form? The answer is none. The best team right now in Europe is Napoli.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.